So in the Galbraith books, I try and do a very different kind of plot each time, and I've been planning a cold case for a while. The themes in the book of loss and distance and separation just felt right. A female doctor left her practice at the end of the working day and was literally never seen again. So what happened to her on this short walk, what should have been a 5-minute walk to the pub to meet a friend? I'm very interested in the function superstition fulfills for human beings. And this was a way of exploring how, when we don't know, we tend to fill the space with our own theories, hopes. And the investigating officer has a breakdown, and he believes he can solve the case through occult means, which is one of the reasons it's never been solved, because he left such a mess behind him. I can't give too much away, but he looks at tarot cards and he looks at astrology, and Strike and Robin inherit a very strange set of notes. One of the major themes in the book is it's an exploration of the changing nature of feminism, because the doctor who disappeared was an ardent feminist, and different takes, I suppose, on femininity and what is expected from women. Robin, as I said, turns 30 in the book, and she's starting to face the question, will I ever have children? People around her are starting to have babies. So, and she faces certain challenges as a woman in this book. She's the youngest person at the agency, but is left in charge of it for a while. So, and she's managing men who are older than her and possibly don't think she should be in charge of the group meetings. So all of that I explore. And then the question is, who killed this doctor? And there was a serial killer who was based on a real life killer called Jerry Brudos, who was active in the 60s. This is the real character, and my serial killer was active in the 60s and 70s. And obviously there we're examining woman hate, duplicity, and yes, misogyny, I suppose. So that's a big theme in the book, including one, I'm smiling because I think it has funny aspects, but one big row between Strike and Robin about Strike putting certain expectations on her because she is the woman. You know, remember to be polite to people, where he doesn't bother. I think that crime novels gain from having witnesses who do not perfectly recall, because that's real life. I remember things that interest me, so I would probably put myself into the unreliable witness category, because I have very clear memories of things that I'm interested in, which is sometimes small details, but I'm unreliable on times and dates. So I have some sympathy for some of the suspects, and the witnesses, I should say, in this case, who don't quite remember what they saw. In some ways, I would say the Potters were whodunits. In fact, I think there are 6 whodunits and one why did it. So there was a mystery in all of the Potter books. I always wanted to write crime, and I think the biggest challenge, actually, in writing that kind of classic detective story is I've chosen to have someone who doesn't have the resources of police forensics and so on at their fingertips. So that can be a challenge. But it's a challenge I enjoy, and I obviously set up that situation. But I learned a huge amount writing the Potters. And I have dossiers on all of my characters. I know down to in fact, for this book, I even decided at what hour of the day Robin and Strike were born. So because of the astrology theme. But I do plot. I'm finding that the older I get, the more planning I do. For this book, for Troubled Blood, I think the table that set out all of the information that would appear in each chapter and what each suspect would say or do was planned out over, I think, about 10 pages, a 10-page long table, which was color-coded and very intricate. You don't want the effort to appear to the reader, you want it to flow. but I needed to know that I'd played. You need to play fair with the reader. You've got to make sure they had all the information there in front of them. You can't cheat them. So, and that takes some skill. But I really enjoy it. And it's such an interesting genre because you can dress it so many different ways. You know, you've got your central structure, you've got your dressmaker's dummy, but you can put any kind of dress on it. And that's what I love about the genre. I really, really love it. Nearly always, I start with how it was done. So I'm often asked, which is a reasonable question because I know other crime writers do this differently. Do you know who did it when you start? And I always know who did it, and I always know how they did it. Yeah, with each of the strikes, I knew exactly how the crime was done before I started, and I really work outwards from there. So with Lethal White, I definitely started with this idea of the lethal white foal and really built outwards, symbolically. And I knew that that plot would have to take us somewhere rural to get near actual horses. Actually, that led to a nice bit of character between Strike and Robin because he really does not like horses. And Robin obviously grew up in Yorkshire and had a fairly scrubby pony. And that's one of the things that makes Strike think she's quite middle class and quite safe when he first meets her. She seems that kind of girl, though that's not really who she is at all. The next one will be very, very different from Troubled Blood. In Troubled Blood, we spent a lot of time speaking to older people sitting on their sofas because, of course, Margot Bamborough, the vanished doctor, remains forever 29, but everyone who worked with her and knew her is a lot older. We're dealing in the next Strike novel with a far younger demographic, which will be exciting for me. I just like to ring the changes a lot, so it's going to be a very different kind of investigation.